Good morning, Facebook. So we got a couple sheep. This tailed guy, we can't keep him in, so he's just going to be the Lone Ranger. You can see what it's out ahead of these sheep. They've been on that side. You can see how that's grazed down. So this is what they do. They turn this sorghum Sudan grass into this in a few hours. So let's look at your work there, freckly man. So they eat it and they trample it down. Both have value. So they're basically turning sunshine into fertilizer, and even the trampled down stuff. So this sorghum Sudan grass is similar to corn, but the growing point never comes out to where if I mow that corn at a certain point it won't come back. This will continue to come back. So we keep fertilizing and it stays flush. Now you see zero noxious weeds on this entire organic farm, which blows my mind. And that's why I caption, you create what you fear. That weed is a product of farmers trying to kill everything but that one crop, and that's Roundup created water hemp. Through evolution it figured out, hey, I'm just going to make a stem and no leaves, and I'm not going to get killed by this stuff anymore. So you haven't seen that because this has just been a pasture. But also we do have weeds in here. If you look, like right here, we got this little guy growing, but because we created a venue where it can't win against this, and then it's going to get ate. And if there is a little weed like that, it's palatable. It's nutrition for these guys. And here's another thing I want to nick in the butt. Punting, 3 to 5 years value. So most people chase money. They're not looking at, okay, what can I learn today that's going to be valuable in 3 to 4 years? And doing this kind of stuff, if you develop a market for things like this, once you gain confidence, you're not fearful anymore. So what you created, what you were fearful about that you create, at the same time can be a positive experience. You can not be fearful and create scale because you have the confidence because you did things small. Nice work, guys. So here's a good spot right here. Look, grazed, ungrazed. So they got to finish this little spot right here to this point, and then they move over to there. And you can see the work that they've done all throughout here, and then we'll show you the chicks. So I don't talk about this hemp crop much. This is CBD hemp. The sheep chasing around hurt that guy a little bit. But this is just running off manure, and think about what's happening in the soil right now with all of this stuff going on, all this manure. So the chickens follow the sheep. We try to keep them 3 or 4 days behind. And they go through the little pellets that the sheep leave. I guess you don't need to see poop, but like I've talked about before, that's their bread and butter. So they can peck through here and deposit more urine. And then this is what's left. And what's great about this sorghum is it's coming back, and that thatch layer, that one's maybe a little bit too overgrazed, but as you start adding the days there, you can see the thickness really thickens up. So the way this will progress is this hemp will continue to get huge, the Christmas tree huge. This will fill this in and canopy and jet out, and it'll be too big for the animal tractors to go through anymore. So at that point, we're fine, and then we come out here into these rows, and there's plenty of room. So we made these mobile coops exactly the width of these corridors, and they'll start mowing through here. And we got these on both sides. And when I talk about commodities, I talk about the edge effect. Another thing to consider is organic. We can't spray fungicide, but if we can allow airflow, it's the morning and the air is blowing maybe 6-8 miles an hour right now. This dew is going to dry off our leaves quicker than if I stuff this plant's full. So we can keep our health up. We can get more sunshine to each plant. We can push the more plants per the row. So there's a thought, if I got the perfect stand, I might be able to cage animals in here with just the plants. I don't know if I'll go to that extent yet, but we're gonna get plenty of yield even though we're emitting rows, especially if we can add some value. Anyway, I've had several of these videos we share. These guys need moved. Look how much they've tore that up. That's just a few days later. Okay. You guys want some food? And I guess I'll go on one tangent before I go. The fractal nature of plants. You know, I talk about soybeans. But what happens, what I mean by fractal is you got one and then it splits. And then those splits split and those splits split. So you create, as the math plays out, then you get exponential amount of production per plant if we can create venues where we take care of weed pressure through maybe intergrazing and thatch layer, and it allows us to lower the population. So most people would say, hey Jason, you need to plant 5,000 of these plants to maximize yield. Well, we only planted 1,000 of these plants because we had room for this and we spaced this out. So we don't get 1/5 of the total yield. We might get almost the same yield because these plants are going to grow in every direction. They're fractal, just like you see on the soybeans. Now we are cheating a little bit because this was pasture and we have tons of carbon in the system. So all of this stuff is just loving life probably for 5 years, especially it'll get better as we continue the system. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. The more splits we make, the bigger these plants' potential can be, and it just comes down to when is the frost and, you know, the length of days and all that stuff. But I digress. I got 19 people. Any questions? I'll actually look at my phone if you've got any questions here. I think this is interesting. We go from where the sheep had grazed and now behind the chickens, and then you can see the work that they've done. Again, no still, no mixed gas, no weed eaters. This is all done by these living, breathing organisms. They're doing better in a still because they're depositing organic fertilizer, and this is the, you know, this is basically gasoline with 2-cycle fuel right here. Look at that. So, anywho, thanks for watching. You know, the best thing about this, you know, I stopped and got coffee and everyone's asking when they're going to start spraying and all this stuff. And you set up a natural algorithm that takes care of itself through just organic management, just moving these animals. These are just hog panels with 2x4s. Thank you, Tyler, for engineering something strong. We got little braces on the corners, little place to put their water. We move that out, and that's their diet is right here. These cost about 80 bucks to make. And if we can share this and ratchet up the value of all these entities combined, then, you know, we'll have these next year. It'll be fine, and we can build 3 times more of them. And the other thing too, you know, the interns are loving this. They created this. I mean, I came out and was like, we're gonna put this here and here, but they've been coming out every day. They've seen this come from just a pasture that was a dirt bike track into this, and we'll attract more interns next year. You know, we might have 10 interns next year. And a lot of people say that's not a sustainable solution, but if you can create new ways of doing things and attract people that want to come on your farm, then that's a creative, you know, a competitive advantage that you created. I think I'm blowing some smoke up your ass, but anyway, look, this is their next meal. We need to move those over there, over to here, and then we'll have a, you know, a 6-row organic machine here. All right. Thanks for watching. See ya.